Alright guys, we're going to do number 18. A minivan travels straight north in the right lane of a divided highway at 280 meters, 28 meters per second. So this is going to travel at 28.0 meters per second. A camper passes the okay, so it's traveling in the right lane at that speed up north. Okay. A camper passes the minivan and changes from the left lane to the right lane. As it does, the camper's path, as opposed to which is which. So if this is the minivan traveling up there and this is the camper, I'm not going to show passes. I want to know which bumper is which, and that's might be a little confusing. You definitely have to take that into account. Let me see. To avoid cutting out the minivan, the north distance between the camper's rear bumper, the camper's rear bumper. Wait, okay. So this is the minivan. To avoid cutting off the minivan, the north-south distance between the camper. Wait, what's happening? Okay, the camper passes the minivan. Okay, so the minivan's front bumper then. To avoid cutting the minivan, the north-south distance between the camper's rear bumper and the minivan's front bumper should not decrease. Awesome. Okay. Can the camper be driven to satisfy this requirement? Explain your answer. I encourage you guys to pause this video and to give this problem a shot. I'm gonna definitely try and give this problem a shot. So it's gonna pass. And I'm not sure which is by side which, but to avoid cutting it off, this bottom portion has to overexceed 28 meters per second in order for it to pass. So I think it could do it if it's if it's passing this lane, that this camper travels up north 28 meters long enough for it to bypass the minivan. So to avoid cutting off the minivan, the north-south distance between the camper's rear bumper, which is right here, and the minivan's front bumper should not decrease. Exactly. Okay. And all right. So now since we got that out of the way, so the camper on the road is straight displacement of 8.50 degrees east of north. East of north would, I believe that's this angle right here, 8.50. Degrees of north. Okay, I think this is getting there. Okay, I think this is a straightforward problem then. Okay, so that's going to be the displacement angle basically, I think. As it does it. Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. So this is pretty straightforward. Okay, if you think about it. So this is going to be the displacement angle. And I was going to pull the solution manual up, but I decided to give this problem a shot. I just got lazy. I didn't want to try to figure this out with the rear and the front, and I just, but I'm glad I did it because, all right. So this is definitely going to be 28.0 meters that it has to surpass. So I think it's going to ask for. The answer is yes. And if this is going to be 8.5 degrees here, and I'm not even going to do the trig on this problem, folks. You know, do your SOHCAHTOA. But cosine of the, or I'm going to say cotangent, or actually I'm going to say tangent. Tangent of 8.50 degrees is going to be, I guess I will do this, is x over 28.0 meters. I think this is the answer. I am pretty certain that that's the horizontal distance, which I'm not sure if it's asking for that, but the horizontal distance would have to be at least having the gap of 1.8, or it would have the it would travel at that speed. So as long as the vertical component is both traveling at 28 meters, regardless of the distance between the gap, as long as it's traveling over this gap at 28 meters, the component for the camper, and if that's going to be the displacement, then the component would be 4.810 meters and that. So let me pull. Actually, I'm going to pull the solution manual. See what it says. All right, folks. So this is going to be the solution manual. So let V represent the speed of the camper, the northwest component, and its velocity is going to be V. I don't know how they got that, but if that's going to be the magnitude, V cosine of okay, we require that the cosine has to overexceed. Oh, I think that's the vertical component. Okay, yeah, that speed has to overexceed that. Okay, I know what it is. I know what this is saying. So this is going to be 8.5 degrees right here, and what it's saying is that this velocity here has to exceed the v cosine of whatever this magnitude of that velocity is, which I already know the magnitude, which is 20. That magnitude v is definitely. And I'll try not to brag anymore, folks, but I just want to emphasize that, you know, I'm not trying to look at the solution manual. I'm looking at my own calculator as being the magnitude, and I was right. Yeah, I was perfectly spot on accurate. So I found, in the way I did it, I found the y, and the horizontal component has to be 4.20 meters, or 4.18 meters per second. So you can take the Pythagorean theorem and add that to 28 square, and then you get the same result. So however you guys want to do this, it doesn't really matter. So let me represent the speed of the camper, the northwest component of the velocity of the v cosine of 8.5 degrees, which this is the actual v, has to exceed this. So that's another way of saying v cosine of 28.3 cosine of that 8.5 degrees. So that should match up to 28 meters. Yeah. So they just use that into account. So what they do is they take 28 meters per second and they divide that by cosine of 8.5. So that's another. So that's what they do, and that should give you the velocity. So in other words, and the angle that's going to be y divided by x. Oh yeah, that's right. That's 8.5 degrees. We don't need to do that. So we can satisfy this requirement by simply taking that this velocity has to exceed those components in order for it to bypass. So the answer is yes. All right.